How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, you see this right here. It says Top Ramen. Top Ramen is a staple for college students. And Top Ramen has no nutritional value. And so, a few years ago, I think it was back in 2014, there was a spotlight put on starving college students, especially athletes, basically saying they starving. And that ain't a good look, because we know that these mainly the colleges that are just, I call the colleges that are just into sports, period, they make millions of dollars. Remember a few short years ago, my royal family, when those college students said that they weren't going to play football, and they made some adjustments quickly? We see who really runs the school. That should put a spotlight on these million-dollar slaves that are afraid to take a knee. But we're going to focus on these college students that are literally starving to death at school. And I've done a lot of research on this, just, at my own leisure. And there are a great deal of students that are on food stamps, or what they call SNAP. The more of them that got on it, said we got to change the name so it don't look so bad. But it's a crying shame here in America that students are starving. And so let's get into it. Got a few short videos to show the family.
It is a stunning statistic. Nearly 50% of college students in the U.S. are going hungry, even at elite universities. Since the recession in 2008, universities have seen their revenues decline, and overall state funding for public colleges and universities remains $9 billion below its pre-recession levels. Well, in response, universities have been raising tuition by an average of 35%. Some states even increased tuition by 60%. So even if a student can afford the price of tuition, many struggle to pay other costs, including food. Sarah Goldrick-Rabb is a professor of higher education policy at Temple University in Philadelphia. She's also the author of Paying the Price: College Costs, Financial Aid, and the Betrayal of the American Dream. It's so nice to have you with us. What does a student look like?
Well, there's a variety of students who are going through this, frankly. Some of these students came up in households that didn't have a lot of money, even when these students were little.
So poor students going off to college, still poor.
Other students, though, are really facing this problem for the very first time. Their families are middle class. They worked very hard to help them get to school. They might have saved some money, but a year or two into college, those savings are exhausted, and students find themselves short. And so for the very first time in their lives, they're experiencing the conditions of poverty.
I think a lot of people, when they think of college students, think they're eating on a very generous meal plan. In fact, they're probably even overeating. Remember, we talked about the freshman 15, and ditching trays of food, wasting food all the time. Is that really not the reality of a college student today?
It isn't, although people continue to have that image. And I think that, frankly, what's still the case that we say college and people think Harvard. That's really not true. Only 13% of American undergraduates live on a college campus. Many of them live at home. They even help to pay the bills at home. It's not like mom and dad are giving them an allowance every day. And many of them are also living with children. Many of them, those are their own children. And they are finding it very hard to make ends meet.
So the profile of the college student has also changed.
It has absolutely changed, and frankly for the better, because we know that going to college is one of those things that can help to ensure economic success. So more people from all walks of life are going. It's just that some are really getting into trouble.
Food pantries are opening on college campuses all over the place. Is that the answer, to sort of hand out free food to bolster those students who aren't eating?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that we can't food pantry our way out of this problem. However, the College and University Food Bank Alliance started about 5 years ago. It had maybe a dozen members, and now it has more than 700. And the reason that that is a good thing is it means that there are at least 700 colleges and universities who are doing something.
So then what's the solution? I mean, is it saying, listen, you gotta lower tuition, or hey, listen, there's gotta be a line in there for food. If you're gonna give someone aid, you actually have to increase it so that you're actually paying for food as well. What do solutions look like?
Well, the thing is that food is already in the budget that students could, in theory, get financial aid for. The problem is that financial aid doesn't keep up with those costs.
Do you think 5 years from now, you and I will be sitting here having this exact same conversation? Maybe there'll be another 200 food pantries, but essentially the issue will not have moved? Or do you think there's real motion in fixing and solving this problem?
I think there actually is motion, and I'm somebody who, really criticizes a lack of momentum when there really isn't one. Do I think that we will eliminate all food insecurity among college students in 5 years? Absolutely not. But I think that we could see it reduced by at least a quarter, and that would be a step in the right direction.
Sarah Goldrick-Ratt.
Okay, we'll leave that right there, my royal family. So, let's go back here. So, they are now trying to combat this issue. And this is not a good look in America, that you're already going in debt going to college. Because when you graduate, you graduate spatially into debt, and especially black students, they usually graduate straight into unemployment. It's hard for them to get a job, and it's a damn shame in America, the land of milk and honey. But we're not gonna lose sight. This was the one making this statement. We're gonna watch this video last. He put a spotlight on this, and this ain't a good look in America. And you know what I was thinking about? A friend of mine's who is always worried about how stuff look, especially how it looks to the enemy. And one day she had called me and asked me, how are me and my husband doing it? Because, just recently my oldest son just finished college. And so her and her husband was sending money down to their daughter every other week. And I told her, you need to go have your daughter get food stamps. And she said, oh no, she would be devastated because, she's around the enemy. So I sent her an article that it was a college in Tennessee. The college, and they broke it down on racial lines. It was, I think, 98% white, and 93% of the white students were on food stamps. And that still wasn't enough for her. She was so worried about how shit looked around the enemy that she would go broke so she, her daughter could go to the store and look like they got something. And it's just stupid. It's just stupid, because you gotta eat. Everybody gotta eat. But the amount of money, how they pimping these students is ridiculous. And then I'm thinking about my oldest daughter when she was in college. Thank goodness, when my daughter went to college, she was right in San Francisco. She could come home every weekend and eat. And she had that little food cart and stuff. And the food quality was atrocious. The price was just overrated. And I was just appreciative that literally she could go down the hill to her grandmother's house and eat, or she could just come home. And a lot of students don't have that opportunity. And don't sit up here because you worried about how shit look and you got to eat. Go get you some damn food stamps. Fuck all of that shit. Fuck all of that. But let's continue on, my royal family, because I'm ranting and raving. I don't like stuff like this. So, and there's something else I'm going to point out that I don't like either. But let's continue on and seeing how they're combating this.
Devin Johnson is live in our newsroom. He spent his night at Augusta University, where they're trying to help students end college hunger, Devin.
John, going to college and craving food go hand in hand. But what happens when it becomes a problem? When it turns into actual hunger? In 2016, colleges and universities addressed the problem of being food insecure.
They started realizing that a lot of their students were struggling, so many colleges and universities started opening food pantries.
For many college students, food insecurity is just a few missed paychecks away. The Associate Dean of Students at Augusta University says she got involved after reading research about hunger on college campuses. In 2016, the Open Paws Food Pantry opened.
We had a mother who came in who's a student who has 2 young daughters and was struggling for food for the rest of the week. And when we told her she could take what she wanted for the week, she cried because she was so relieved that she was going to be able to have food for her 2 young children.
Studies show 1 out of 3 students at a 4-year university say they have low food security. At AU, other students are stepping in to help them and feed them.
We had boxes of, say, there were 3 different flavors of oatmeal packets, and a student said, I know I'm not going to eat these, can I leave them for someone else?
Thurman says having items like soup and other non-perishable items available on campuses will help many students who are stretching their dollars to make ends meet.
We knew we were doing a good thing when we were not aware that we would have a student who had not eaten for 24 hours.
And what does the future hold when it comes to food on campus? Thurman says she hopes healthier options are on the horizon.
My vision is that we can get big enough to where we can take, have a refrigerator or a freezer and take more fruits and vegetables, or maybe yogurt, things that require refrigeration but have a little longer shelf life, that have a little more nutritional value than the typical ramen noodles.
The Open Paws Food Pantry is open through the holidays. They're collecting donations year-round to keep kids going hungry. Back to you, John.
All right, my royal family.
The new Surface Pro has a great battery life.
Take this off. Let's get rid of that. I don't want no damn pop-ups. Let's take this down. Take this down. So, before I get started. So, what irritates me about this, my royal family? This has always been an ongoing thing where you would hear jokes about starving students. And back in, let's go over here because I'm going to play this video. So back in 2014, there was a bigger spotlight put on it because I started out saying that once a college athlete that make millions of dollars for these colleges is starving and he mentioned it, they was embarrassed. And what I don't like is how the enemy always likes to step in and look like they such good Samaritans, been knowing about this bullshit, been knowing. And I'm not knocking. It's a good thing that they are making sure, and they need to step it up even further, that these students eat. But this cash cow, what you call America, should be ashamed of themselves that their students are literally starving to death in many, many ways. Financially, you got to think of transportation, clothes, hygiene, all these different things come in because your life doesn't stop. You know, it's like everybody gets excited, oh, you're going to college. And then all these hidden fees. I know. So far, out of my 4 children, 2 of my children have finished college, and I thank y'all for that. But then my oldest daughter, she's still paying her loans off, and my oldest son is still dealing with the same thing. And I dealt with more of this because my oldest son moved about 4 or 5 hours away, and we ran into this, but we took care of it and we did what we had to do and stuff. So this is what sparked it all.
Over whether college athletes should be paid is really heating up after one of UConn's star basketball players tells reporters that he sometimes goes to bed starving. Point guard Shabazz Napier leading the Huskies to their 4th national championship last night, beating Kentucky 60-54. But his comments nearly 2 weeks ago now have resurfaced and are getting a lot of attention in light of his huge victory last night, especially after Northwestern's football players won their bid to form a union last month. Listen to what Shabazz Napier said.
We, as student athletes, get utilized for what we do so well, and we definitely, we're definitely best to get a scholarship to our universities. But at the end of the day, that doesn't cover everything. We do have hungry nights that we don't have enough money to get food, and sometimes, needed money is needed. I think, Northwestern has an idea, and we'll see where it goes.
Very interesting, right? Joined now by Jamu Green, former president of the Women's Media Center, and Jedediah Bila, who is an author and a former high school academic dean, and they are both Fox News contributors. Welcome. Good to have you both here. Jedediah, what's your reaction to that?
Well, the thing is, it's not about academics anymore. It's all about sports. I've worked with these kids. I've tutored them. I've taught them. Academics are second. They are athletes first.
So true.
So if you're spending 40 to 50 hours a week on, football or basketball, you start to feel like an employee. You don't feel like a student anymore. So I think these athletes are saying, look, if you want to run my life, if you want to tell me what classes I can and can't take, if you want to tell me what kind of part-time jobs I can and can't take, then you need to compensate me, because basically I'm not here for the academics. I'm here for the sports. You know it, I know it, so pay me.
I think that changes the entire nature of college sports, which I think is an unfortunate way to go with this. Yeah. What do you think, Jamil?
Money does change everything, doesn't it? I agree with most of what Jedediah has said. They actually couldn't even get a part-time job if they wanted to.
Every student, he's got a meal plan. Why on earth would he be hungry? He should use his meal card. I can't tell you how many responses we already got in this story saying, is he... I would love to ask him this question, does he not have a meal plan?
Perhaps the cafeteria is closed when they are still in practice. The main point here is, though, Martha, he feels that he is hungry. So what does that say about how student athletes are treated? And the larger point here is that this star athlete isn't alone. There are so many students, whether they're in college or in high school, who are going to bed hungry every night, and our institutions aren't taking care of them. You cannot learn, going back to the academics, when there's academics involved, you cannot learn if you're hungry. So whether it's through getting the support from a union or actually being paid, they are contributing to hundreds of millions of dollars
environment, and I think there's an argument to be made that in this society, and I love sports, my kids all play sports, it's one of the greatest things that children can do as they're growing up. It teaches them so many great lessons. And I look back at what was said by Shabazz Napier. He said, I went to this team when we had an early loss in this season, and I said to them, we're a team. It's not about me. It's about us. We will hold that trophy at the end of this tournament, and they did. And he was so proud of being part of this team. The coach said, we are UConn. This is what we do. The last shall be first. What happens to that dynamic when you start paying these athletes? The top ones, they get more money than the rest of everybody else. What happens to the team dynamic? Now, I think there's an argument to be made for a small stipend to make sure they can buy the jersey that has their name on the back, okay? Maybe a savings bond that they get years after they graduate from school. But to pay them to play, that is professional sports.
Well, I think that's what it turns into. Then it becomes a job. It's not that you're a college kid on a team and it's about the teamwork and it's about learning and the experience. It becomes a job. And I think what they're saying is we're already doing a job. We're bringing in a ton of revenue for the school. We're not seeing any of that. Numerous kids are wanting to come to the school as a result of us building up the athletics. So I see the point. Now, do I technically think they should be paid? No, I think they're very well taken care of and they've been given enormous opportunities. But given the way our educational system is, glorifying the athletes and taking away that academic component, separating it, I see their point.
Yeah, Jamu?
Work study has been a part of college campuses forever. So whether the stipend is a part of their scholarship,
but unionize and
unions take care of their people. They do good by their people. So if institutions
That's why their membership is sliding all across the nation.
Well, the membership in unions is sliding because we have politicians who have demonized them and have gone after them with very hard legislation. But if the institution isn't going to take care of their people, that's why it's important that we do have systems like unions who make sure that their members
I really want to know the answer to that question. He's a great kid, by the way, and he was a great leader to this team, and I am not knocking him in any way. I do want to know if he has a 24/7, 3 days of meals card, because he absolutely should as part of his program there. Thank you very much to you both. Good to have you here.
They're going to pay those.
All right, my royal family. Now that video was done in April 8th, 2014. And I'm in total agreement that these students need to be paid. They also need to have medical and all of that because they are pimping them. And then on top of that, they starving. Starving students. And they nothing more than slaves. So there's a lot of dynamics that I am talking about, my royal family. And I know we gonna mix it up. Because we either got children, we got children in college, getting ready to go to college, considering going to college, and all these different things in America. And it makes no damn sense, that you got to worry about eating and you don't have no coins to get to point A to point B. You can't function in America without money, and you gotta eat. It's simple than that. It's that simple. But we know how it is here in America. They don't make it that simple. So my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.